Hello, everyone. Welcome to Follow the Money, brought to you by Nairametrics. My name is Ugodre, and it is great to be back. For those of you who missed me last week, I'm sorry. Had some other business to take care of. You know how it is. But still a marvelous May. I know May is gone, done and dusted, but it was a marvelous May. And welcome to June, everybody. Happy New Month, as they say. I remember I was one of those who used to always say, why do people say Happy New Month, Happy New Week? But anyway, Happy New Month, nevertheless. It's a new month. June happens to be the first, the last month in the first half of the year. And so you're probably now looking to take stock of how well the year has been for you in terms of investing. I'm pretty sure your year has started up pretty good, as much as a lot of us have also been great as well. Anyway, we do this every Monday on this channel, Classic FM 97.3, 8 to 8:30 a.m. every Monday. And of course, you can also watch this on Spotify, on Nairametrics. Just go to Nairametrics on Spotify and etc. FTM, and then you can watch this episode and previous episode as well. You also have an opportunity to watch this, of course, on our YouTube channel, Nairametrics TV. We just hit 50,000 subscribers recently. Wow, in a little over a year. Thank you all so much for that. And keep subscribing and hitting the notification button, because that is how we're able to continue to create the content that you all need for your investing. As we say at Nairametrics, we're here to create wealth through information. All right, so what a month it was for the month of May. Not necessarily like the best month anyway, but so far so good. It wasn't a bad month because the stock market closed the month of May up 60.7% year to date. Can you just imagine that the stock market is up 60.7% year to date? Beat every single indicator out there, whether it's inflation, whether it's interest rate from banks, whether it's yield free, whether it's interest for treasury bills, fixed income rates, commercial paper rates. The stock market basically has dusted every single indicator out there with a stupendous performance, 60.74% as at the end of May. So for those who may have forgotten, we started the year January with a 6.3% gain. And then we went to February. February basically changed the entire thing, because that's when the surge started. We gained 16.6%, the first double-digit gain. And of course, that was followed by a slightly lower 4.39% in March. And then things picked up again in April as results were about to come out at 20.36%. And then May again kind of softened to 3.2%. And that kind of maybe gives you an idea of what could happen in June. Like, I mean, are you going to bet against June right now? I remember, people always say, selling may go away or whatever, but that didn't happen. Appears the market, it wasn't as good as April, but the market did do pretty well in May with that 3% also gain. So kind of looks like maybe we could see a bit of what we saw in this year, because January was good. February picked up pretty much, and then we had a slowdown in March, and then April was solid, and then we now had a slowdown in May. So who knows? Is June going to be solid? I mean, I was looking at the all share index over the last few years, and I think it's important to state that the stock market hasn't always done pretty well in June, because it, out of the last, in the last 5 years, is lost, or in the last 10 years, is lost at least 4 times in June compared to, let's say, May. In May, the stock market has always done pretty well. In fact, in the last 10 years, stock market has lost only twice in May. And no surprises that we did get another gain in May. But for June, the stock market tends to struggle. Nevertheless, the last 3 years, we've had positive gains in the month of June. So, for example, in 2023, Remember, that was when we had the new government. The market gained 9.2%. In 2024, it was a flat 0.76%. In 2025, that was last year, 7.37%. But the 4 years prior to that, it was all losses. So are we going to see another remarkable June, another June of positive gains? Maybe it could just follow the same trajectory that we saw, where February was pretty good and then March wasn't too good, and then April picked up really much, and then May slowed down a bit, and then maybe we could see a surge in the month of June. Whatever though, nevertheless, the market is up 60.7% year to date in May. We'll be interested to see where we close in the first half of the year. Of course, you're wondering what were the reasons why we've seen the market do this well. We've seen stocks, good performance from a number of sectors. Oil and gas sectors done pretty well. Industrial goods sector done well as well. Banking sector, maybe not too well, but you've seen some slight uptick in banking sector stocks, and then consumer goods stocks have also done pretty well as this year. So these have been the major drivers, and I'm not going to bet on a lot of all the stocks not doing well in June and even into the second half of the year. We have to bet against them. I don't know, but that's what I think. So the stock market is still the place to be. A lot of reforms, a lot of changes coming up. So it is a good place you want to be, in terms of investing. And yeah, by the way, we are having our stock market award this week. Nigerian Nairametrics Capital Market Awards taking place on the 5th of June at the Civic Center in Victoria Island, Lagos. So we're going to give awards to capital market operators that have made money for all of us one way or the other, or have at least improved a lot of our investments. And this award is purely based on results and based on how well these guys have fared all year round. Okay, talking about the best performing companies, we will look at now the best performing stocks on the exchange so far this year, that is in 2026, right? And this was just before the closing, just about May. This article came out on Nairametrics on the 26th or 27th of May. So it is still fairly valid, because we were still talking about companies that have done pretty well. So I don't think that there would have been a lot of changes like that. So coming at number 10 is Deep Capital Management and Trust. They closed so far 187% year-to-date gain. It's a small stock, not like it has a lot of volume, but it did surprise everyone earlier in the year when it surged from like 1.90 naira to over 9 naira per share, which was like almost a 400% increase at that time, and everybody was pretty much shocked. The only gist we heard at that time was that there was an MOU they had signed with Bank League Africa Equity Fund, who had committed to giving them 1 billion naira or so to finance minerals and metal projects in Africa. So I don't know, for some reason shareholders of that company felt like maybe they needed to increase the share price or reward them with a surge in demand, and that drove up the share price to over 9 naira per share, 9 naira 40 per share, before it started to tank. But still, it tanked to like 5 naira 45 per share, which still gave the stock a 194%, a 187% gain, I beg your pardon. Now, the next best performing stocks is Chemical Allied Paint PLC. Chemical Allied Paint has gained 188% year to date, and share price is at 199 naira per share. This was one stock that we recommended on our service, ftm.ng. In case you don't know that we do recommend stocks via this service, ftm.ng. Of course, we expect you to do your own research. This is on based efforts only, but we try as much as possible to give you stocks that we feel have very solid fundamentals as stocks that I want to buy. We also have a skin in the game, because some of these things that we also talk about, we do also invest in some of them. All right, so CAP PLC, which is Chemical Allied Paint, up 180% year to date. Shares have gone from 69 naira to almost, at some point, it ballooned past 200 naira per share. And this was also supported by solid earnings. Pre-tax profit rose 51% to 9.1 billion in 2025. And in the first quarter of this year as well, profits also surged 40% year on year to 2.3 billion. So kind of looks like fundamentals was a major driver of the performance that we saw for chemical allied paint. So 188% year-to-date return. Beggar Paints, another paint company. Looks like the paint companies are pretty doing well, and could also be a bandwagon effect. Who knows? Because we do have like 3 paint companies on our list of best performing stocks this year. So, but at number 8 is Beggar Paints. Beggar Paints is up 208% year to date, price at 147.6 naira per share. It also, in a way, fundamental driven because in 2025, pre-tax profit was up 116% year on year to 2.4 billion. While in the first quarter of 2026, we did also see profit grow 48% to 693.1 million. Are we, buying more paints in Nigeria? Looks like that's what is happening. People seem to be building a lot more and relying a lot more on paint as a way to beautify their houses, because that's the only way I can understand why you're seeing this sort of growth in their top and bottom line. So Beggar Paints and Chemical Paints coming in at 9 and 8 at 8 and 9 respectively. So Beggar Paints 8, Chemical Allied Paints 9 position. Now, Union Daikon, I don't know. Not one of those stocks that I'll buy at the moment because of fundamental reasons, but it's up 244% year to date, so you can't take that away from them. 23.75 naira per share is what is done. At some point, the stock rose from about 6 naira 90 kobo per share, which is what it was, and hit that record high share price that I called earlier. Its strongest bounce was in February when it gained 89%, which was, I guess, underpinned by the result that it pushed out at that time. But it wasn't like it was anything spectacular. It showed revenue of 11.8 billion compared with 0 sales in 2024. Anyway, I'm sure you say, well, that's spectacular. Will go, well, yeah, I know. And then pre-tax profit was 131 million. So that's the issue for me. Like, if after doing 11 billion in revenue and in pre-tax profit. But you know what? Investors do think that, Daikon Salt had something in there, and that made it number 7 on the list. I told you there were a number of paint companies on our list as well. So Premier Paints was also on the list, up 205% year to date to close at 37.5 naira. The rally followed news in December that majority shareholders Clover Global Resources Limited and TGHL Capital sold their combined 51% stake to Zenergy Limited. So there were deals that happened, insider deals, corporate action, boardroom action that drove share price for Premier Paint, and that's why you've seen it do this well. So it's up 205% to making it the 3rd paint company on our list of 10 best paint companies this year. 10 best Nigerian stocks so far this year. We're going to take a short break, and when we're back, we will continue with the remaining 5, and also have another countdown as well to give you a number of metrics out here to discuss on Follow the Money this episode on Nairametrics TV. We will be right back. All right, welcome back to Follow the Money, brought to you by Nairametrics. Yes, we have our Capital Market Awards coming up on the 5th of June 2026, and we are happy to have you attend if you are invited. It is strictly by invitation, but don't worry, we would also be streaming this live on Nairametrics TV for those who can make it. We have about 75 nominees and over 20 categories, and that we're going to be calling out awards for, but there can only be one winner per category. So one of the categories that I'm looking forward to is Company of the Year. Looking forward to who's going to win Company of the Year 2026, right? Of course, this is based on how well they performed in 2025, and how we measure this is purely empirical. Another thing that will be very interesting to note is a new category that we brought in, Influencer of the Year, Stock Market Influencer of the Year, or Capital Market Influencer of the Year. That person or that individual or that organization that has through social media influence how well people understand the stock market from a financial education point of view, of course. And they also have Journalists of the Year, Capital Market Journalists of the Year, that we also introduced this year. And that I was going to be going to which of that journalists out there on TV, on radio, on print, or online that have contributed the most in ensuring that we get the best news for the stock market. All right, so we're back to that countdown of top 10 most best performing Nigerian stocks on the exchange. And John Holt comes in at number 5 with 284% year to date. Return shares has gone from 4 naira 90 kobo to 18 naira 8 kobo per share, and volume of trading of over 78 million shares trading. April was a bit of the month of a decline with a 19.2% pullback. However, momentum improved after the company's Q2 results showed a pre-tax profit of 63 million. So it's just incredible how, 63 million is a lot of money, but in the context of the stock market, it's not a lot, but this stock is doing 284% year to date already. So that is just kind of like solid. I don't know. Revenues were growing double digits, but is this why it's, investors ascribe this sort of valuation to it? I don't know. Maybe that's something I don't know. But anyway, RT Briscoe is at number 4 with 289% year to date. Reported a revenue of 40.4 billion, up 41% year on year for its 2025 results, while profit grew 257% to 2.89 billion. So investors obviously rewarding the stock for the performance that they saw in its financial year. So that was very solid to a lot of investors, and that has given RT Briscoe the sort of valuation that you've seen so far. Now, Red Star Express is at number 3 with 291% gain year to date. That is more than doubling in terms of value. Red Star Express delivered 291% year to date gain, because it opened the year at 8 naira 7 kobo per share, and now it is at about 34 naira per share. So you can see how well it is doing. Now, it is also backed by some kind of fundamental, because earlier in May, the company reported revenues of 23.5 billion, which spans from like April 2025 to March 2026, because that's how they do the year end, compared to 21.6 billion previously. And so, slight gain there, but in terms of pre-tax profit, it did rise to 1.2 billion from 947 million naira, pushing the stock beyond its February peak to close at 34 naira per share. So I don't know whether investors are happy with the sort of return they're seeing. It's a single digit increase. It's not just a big deal. Just 1.27 billion from 924 million real. I don't know. But again, 291% Red Star Express. So the share price currently at 34 naira per share. And then we'll go to number 2, which is Square Nigeria PLC. Square is up 365% year to date. That's like over 700% annualized. So you all know what Square does. Square, it's a low cap stock, but it tends to always be in that rally space every other year. I don't know why. It always gets there. Square, John Holt, you tend to see them in there rallying as penny stocks. Now, the top stock so far year to date, I don't know whether you heard of this company before, but it's the best performing stock in Nigeria so far. And that stock is Fortis Global Insurance, up 400% year to date. I don't know. It's a penny stock, not one of those NGX 30 stocks or top stocks, but hey, it's up 400% year to date. And in case you're wondering, what is this company? I never heard of this company before. Well, they used to be called Standard Alliance Insurance. I'm sure you probably heard of them. Standard Alliance Insurance, very old insurance company, has been around since the 90s. And that is what they've now rebranded to Fortis Global Insurance. It's the highest gainer this year so far, and was already the highest gainer as of February 2026, when its share price surged 370% in that month alone, from whatever it was at that time to 0.994 to 94 kobo per share. So, I mean, we've spoken to some investors who think that maybe this is some kind of speculative rally, but who knows? Could not. Maybe it's just a result, because as at its 2025 full year numbers, they did report a loss after tax of 1.6 billion against a profit of 4.9 billion the year before. So, I don't know what investors are reacting to. Maybe they are reacting to the fact that maybe the company is beginning to clean up or begin to get better. Maybe that is why they've rallied that much. But that is the top 10 best performing stocks in Nigeria, the hottest stocks in Nigeria as at 2025 May. Which of these stocks was in your portfolio? I don't know. Only one was in my portfolio here, and I'm no problem with that. I got no problem with that. I don't have to own everything. But it was only one of those stocks of all the list here that was in my portfolio. Talking about portfolio, there are a lot of companies that are going to pay dividend in June as well. So as an investor, it is important that you also know the companies that are going to be paying dividends so that you can check your alert and see whether you have money coming in into your account. Because you invest in stocks not just for the capital appreciation, you also invest in stocks to earn some dividend. And a lot of Nigerian stocks pay dividend. So I'm going to take you through some of the dividend-paying stocks this year. Now, the first is Skyway Aviation Company PLC. They are meant to pay dividend on the 25th of June. But to be part of this dividend, you must have bought the shares as of the 2nd of June. If you don't have it by the 2nd of June, which is on Tuesday, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to earn the dividend. And they're applying to pay dividend of 1 naira 20 kobo per share. SAHCO, solid company at the moment. Revenue up 53% year to date, or year on year, beg your pardon, to 44.6 billion. And profit after tax also more than doubled to 9.7 billion naira per share. So it's a solid company. They also have enough money in their retained earnings to pay as dividend. Again, if you want to get this stock as dividend, you must own the share as before June 2nd. Now, CAP PLC, I did talk about them earlier as well. CAP PLC, Chemical Allied Prints, they are also paying dividends. So if you want to earn that dividend, you must own the stock on or before the 3rd of June. In fact, before the 3rd of June, which is on Wednesday, 2026. If you don't own this stock by that date, then I'm sorry, you will not be able to get the dividend, because they're going to be paying that dividend on the 25th of June, and they are paying 4 naira per share in dividend. Now, Better Glass also is paying dividend on the 25th of June. Already 3 stocks paying on 25th of June. And Better Glass, you need to own the stock before the 3rd of June to qualify as one of those who will be paid dividend. And they are paying a whopping 7 naira 20 kobo per share as dividend. So you want to ask yourself, do you own the stock? Do you think that you're going to be earning part of this dividend? Well, it all depends on you. Boa Foods PLC, another stock that happens to be in my portfolio as well. They are going to be paying dividend on the 25th of June. Again, qualification date is June 3rd. So you must own the stock by June 3rd if you want to get the dividend. And they are paying a dividend of 228 naira per share in dividend. Boa Foods. Now, Seplat Energy, which tends to pay dividend like 4 times a year sometimes. I think they pay dividend like every quarter. They are paying another dividend on the 19th of June 2026. But of course, you must own the stock as of 5th of June. That's the date right there on Nigerian Capital Market Award. So if you don't own the stock before then, you're not going to be earning the dividend of 5 cents interim plus 4 cents special dividend. So Seplat declared both interim and special dollar-denominated dividend for the first quarter of this year. So you want to get Seplat dividend, you want to enjoy that dividend, 4 cents, 5 cents interim plus 4 cents special, which is about 9 cents, then you want to own that stock before the 5th of June. UAC also has a qualification date of the 11th of June 11th of June 2026. So if you don't own this stock, by that time, you will not be able to earn dividends. So for those who want, to earn dividend of the stock, then you gotta own it by that date. Otherwise, it's not going to be yours at all, at all, at all, at all, at all. And that is for UAC Nigeria PLC, which is also paying dividend. Let's even see what the qualification date is for that dividend. Because if you don't own this dividend, if you don't own the stock by 11th of June, you're not going to be able to get it because they are paying on the 26th of June, 2026. All right, so we go on now to the next stock on my list in terms of dividend payments. EcoBank Transnational PLC, EcoBank Transnational Incorporated, is paying dividend on the 30th of June. They're paying 16 cents per share, beg your pardon. And you must own that stock by June 12th, which is the public holiday, I think. So if you don't own that stock before June 12th, you're not going to be getting this dividend that they are paying. Dangote Cement, one of the best paying dividend companies in Nigeria, is also paying dividend on the 2nd of July 2026. But you must own the stock by 17th of June to be one of those who earn 45 naira per share in dividend for Dangote Cement. So Dangote Cement investors, watch out for your dividend. Champs Holding Company also paying on the 10th of July, but the qualification date is June 18th, and you're paying 3 kobo per share. So if you have shares in this company, then you should be getting your 3 kobo per share dividend on the 10th of June. And last, definitely not the least, is McNichols Consolidated PLC. They are closing their register on the 29th of June. So if you don't own this stock by the 29th of June, you're not going to be able to earn the 6 kobo per share dividend that they're going to be paying on the 6th of August, 2026. So that is it. If you want to know more about dividend, Nigerian stocks dividend, and when they're going to be paying dividend, then check out our website, investorrates.com. Investor rate, like investor rates, like, electorates. Yeah. So investorrates.com. Then we have, all the companies that you probably are part of and the dividend date and when they are paying, how much they're going to pay. You have all that information on that website. It is an Nairametrics website as well, but it's called investorrates.com, and you will see everything that you need to know about dividend. All right, that is it for Follow the Money, brought to you by Nairametrics for this week. I hope that you have been informed. I hope that wealth has been created for you through information. Don't forget, Nairametrics Capital Market Award comes up on the 5th of June, 2026. By the way, I hope you've been listening to or you've been watching our latest Drinks and Mics episode, dropped on Friday. Also, don't forget to listen to all our other interesting podcasts, because that's what we do at Nairametrics, creating wealth for you through information. If you have questions, by the way, join our Telegram channel on Nairametrics, on Follow the Money as well. And then you can get a chance to just direct your questions at me, anything, any stock, and I would respond to you as in a timely manner. Thank you so much, and do have a profitable week ahead. Bye.